welcome in, sports fans. You are watching On Deck with DeRo and Arch. This show is under the Missouri Sports umbrella. Missouri Sports Network is a Springfield area-based media conglomeration that seeks to feature high school and college athletics in Missouri. And specifically, the On Deck show focuses on colleges and universities in Missouri and their athletic programs all across the board. And we love doing this show and love giving colleges in Missouri their due, and particularly small colleges and universities and junior colleges. We love to bring those stories to you. We're going to do that tonight as well. We're going to feature Washington University out of the St. Louis area. We're going to be visiting with their men's basketball coach. Coach Pat Juckem is the coach, men's coach there at WashU. They've developed some tradition there and have put together some really nice back-to-back seasons here for a while. And Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Eric, thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
You bet. You bet. Hey, I usually start with this question when we interview coaches, but it's fascinating for me to hear the stories. Just tell me a little bit about your path as a coach and how you got from point A to point B and everything in between.
Sure. I'm sure when you talk to coaches, everyone's path is unique to them. And certainly I'll go back. I played at a Division III school in Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. Okay. Played at a school and never once during my time as a player it never entertained my brain that I would coach someday. Never crossed my mind. And I decided kind of late to get a teaching certification on top. So after I graduated, I came back and I was a student teacher for a semester. We had a newer head coach, young guy, just brought a lot of energy to a program. He's like, Pat, you're going to be in the area. You know anything about helping out? And I'm like, yeah, love to. I know the guys. I look what you're building here. And I'll never forget sitting in the office with John Tharp was his name. He went on to be a terrific coach at the Division II level as well. And our staff, and we're doing some planning, and it was like, hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I had no idea what coaches do. and then that continued to when we were planning our first practice. And how much time went into planning a practice? Like, it took as much time to plan the practice as the practice itself.
Right.
And I think maybe I was just oblivious, but I think a lot of players are like this. They really don't know.
Right.
What we do, how much, between film and, all that. So anyway, it really, I was hooked. I mean, like, this is so interesting, scouting and game planning and recruiting. And again, I was a lowly, I was just a volunteer. But anyway, I went on to be a high school coach and teacher for a couple of years. And then John, the head coach at Lawrence University, which is where I played, had his top assistant left. And he called me. I was like, start of the school year. He's like, Pat, I need you back. And I was like, oh, Coach, like, it's Labor Day. Like, we've got 2 weeks of school and I just can't quit. And he was a hell of a salesman. And he convinced me to leave that job and to move back. And then I was his assistant for 6 years. And we, the program, the school I went to, 1,300 students, tiny liberal arts school,
right?
With not a lot of with really very little basketball tradition. I always joke that when I played there was like, I was related to half the people in the stands.
Yeah.
Fast forward, and we went to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. We were in Elite Eight. We were number 1 in the country in Division III. It was just amazing, and I got to be part of that. And I was able to parlay that into my first head coaching job was at Coe College, which is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, another Division III school. I was there for 7 years. And then I went back to where I was from. I went back to Wisconsin, Oshkosh, one of the large state schools in the Wisconsin system. There's these large Division III schools with 15,000 students. They don't look like Division III schools, but they are. And I was back there for 6 years and took over a struggling program. We built it up. We got my last year. We were lost in the national championship game. We were national runner-up, and then just wasn't really looking to leave. But then the WashU job opened up. Mark Edwards, who is the Hall of Fame coach at WashU, retires in 2018. And it was always a job that I had my eye on, quite honestly. I'd been on WashU's campus, 10 years earlier. I coached a game there. And I remember leaving there and I told my wife, now that's a job. That is an unbelievable, if I'm ever good enough to be in the running of that place. And it worked out. I had the right kind of year in the year that job was opened, and I was fortunate enough to get this job. And now, gosh, it's this is my 7th year, so it is flying by. But so I've been in Division III my full experience as a student athlete, as an assistant, and now at 3 different stops at 3 different colleges. And so I am a Division III guy through and through.
Yeah, interesting. And towards the end of the show, I'm going to wind back and sort of visit that Division III concept and that culture a little bit. And for our viewers out there, listeners, there might be some things about that would be new to them or new concepts. So towards the end, we'll come back to that Division III concept. Hey, look, your team's playing well. I think at last check, you're 17-5-ish or somewhere in there. You may have added a game since then, since I checked, but playing really well. Tell me a little bit about this year's team, sort of your identity or just some things that are unique about this team, maybe from other teams that you've had.
Sure. First of all, have an outstanding group of young men, just really a great group, high character, and a nice balance. We have, 2 senior leaders who've kind of been 4-year players. And we just have a kind of a balance. It's an interesting time in college athletics. There's a lot of super old teams right now, right? With 5th years, 6 years. We've never gone that route. We're a 4-year institution. So we've got a kind of a balanced roster, freshmen through seniors. And so we've I guess go back to last year, we were in the Sweet 16 in Division III last year, and we turned really the core of our team returned. So certainly have high expectations for this team. We went to Spain in May with the team, did a foreign tour and played some exhibition games and got to see Spain. And so we get some additional practices. So that was a great opportunity, really bigger than basketball, quite honestly. And then, our, like most teams, we've dealt with injuries. We've had, we had a game this year where 10 of our 15 guys had norovirus. We had a norovirus outbreak the day of the game. And so we postponed the game a day and played the next day. And of course we were not in good shape at all, but played it and played a really good team and lost a close game. So, in the course of a season, you have these things, these challenges, and, we've persevered. The league we play in, I don't know if your viewers so we play in a really unique conference. It's a UAA. It's so 8 really high academic research one institutions. So University of Chicago, Emory in Atlanta, NYU in New York, Brandeis in Boston, Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, Case Western in Cleveland. So we fly to our games. We travel. We have an experience that's unique to Division III for sure. We say we travel better than half of Division I probably. Get to play in big cities. And our league has always been a really strong league. But in particular, the last 3-4 years, it is undeniably the top league in Division III. Right now, there's the number 2 ranked team in the country, the number 4 ranked team in the country. We've been anywhere from as high as 2 to 20 in that range. There's another two teams have been ranked. So it's a heck of a league. It's a dogfight. And then you travel. We just had the last 2 weekends let's see, we were in New York and Boston 2 weekends ago. That's 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We play Friday and Sunday. We get back Sunday night. Thursday morning, we fly out. We're in Cleveland and Pittsburgh for 4 days for 2 more games. So we were on the road 8 of 11 days. So we're home this weekend, and we're very thankful for that. But the league's a juggernaut. And the cool thing about our league, we're the only league in college basketball, any level, that doesn't have a conference tournament. And so it is, and partly it's logistics of we're so spread out.
Sure.
And and maybe someday we'll go to one, but right now we don't. And so it's pure. It's a double round robin. You play 14 games, and the conference champion gets the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. So kind of love like how that, like that team who survives and wins it deserves that automatic bid. And unfortunately, our league is strong enough that typically last year we had 3 at-larges in the automatic. So half our league was in the tournament. And this year it's kind of shaping up that way again, that we might get 4 teams in the Division III tournament out of 8. So,
wow, that's cool. Early in the fall, Darren and I we were covering your volleyball programs, soccer programs, which, by the way, for the viewers that don't know, are loaded year in and year out. So just tradition-rich athletics at WashU. But one of the things we noticed was the conference travel, jetting off to Pittsburgh or Cleveland or wherever. And so, I'm glad you brought that up. Kind of different experience for your kids than some others. So I'm sure there are positives to that as well as negatives to be gone 4 days or whatever. And probably carry the academic load that your kids have to carry. I'm sure can be challenging for those guys and gals.
It is. And we're very upfront about, what that commitment is on the front end when we're recruiting. And, we always, talk about our athletes at WashU achieve at the exact same level academically as our non-student athletes. There are great resources, but you have to be proactive. You have to be prepared. And our kids, it's not uncommon. We'll be in the hotel, it's midnight and I'll go down and both the men's and women's teams are all out there studying. And I'll be like, yo guys, like, let's head off. So, they're very disciplined but it's nothing that they can't handle. But it's not easy either. And to say it's easy would be disingenuous.
For sure. You kind of mentioned postseason and Division III playoffs and those kind of things. I was going to head that direction anyway. So tell us a little bit about the postseason format at the Division III level. And then I think I have an understanding that you guys have hosted for a couple of years now, at least in terms of part of that tournament on the front end. So fill us in a little bit about the Division III playoffs.
It loosely resembles the Division I. It's a 64 team bracketed tournament. That's, national in scope. There are 4 regions and the one difference in probably the division, well, a couple differences, but one of them is in the Division I, like there's really no budget, right? You can have a team on the East Coast playing a team on the West Coast in the first round. In Division III, they are somewhat mindful. So you tend to play teams in those early rounds that are in your general, maybe within 500 miles, your general region. Okay. But you don't play anyone in your league right away. You don't play someone you've played a non-conference in the first round. And they try to reward ideally, the top 16 teams would all theoretically host 14 pods in the first and second round. And then, so that loosely is how it works. And we've been fortunate. We've now hosted first and second round 3 straight years. So we've put ourselves in good positions. And I'll be honest, sometimes I was thinking maybe it's easier to just get on the road and go and go somewhere else. We've done that too and had been successful. But and it's, so we say you got to win 3 4-team tournaments is really what it comes down to.
Wow.
So after the first weekend, you have 16 teams left. There'll be 4 generally the 4 remaining highest seeds host 4 pods. And then the Final Four the last few years has been in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
Now, next year, 2026, the Division II and Division III championship game are being held at the Final Four in Indiana, in Indianapolis. So they do that every once in a while. It was supposed to be in 2020, and then obviously 2020's tournament didn't occur.
Right.
And so that's a big cherry to be able to play your championship game at the Final Four. Well, that's down the road, but we'll see. A little extra motivation.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to the point you made earlier, and I'm going to take this, or let you take this 2 ways. I'm going to ask the questions both at the same time and then let you cover it. You sort of mentioned that you're a Division III lifer to this point. Obviously, I can tell you have tremendous passion for what you do and representing WashU. And bigger than that, I sort of get this vibe that you're incredibly proud of Division III basketball in totality, which is great. Sounds like you're a great ambassador for them. So the questions are, hey, tell us a little bit about, hey, what are the really great things about Division III schools, athletics, the whole package? Sure. And then maybe give our viewers some things that might be obstacles at that level that people might not realize or might not occur at other levels.
Sure. Thank you for that question. And you're right. I am on the I love what Division III represents. And like I said, that's been my whole experience as an athlete and as a coach. And so a couple of things viewers may not know. Division III is the biggest division in the NCAA. There's roughly double the amount. There's about 440 Division III schools across the country. That's almost double the size of Division II, and it's bigger than Division I. So it is,
wow.
There's more student athletes at Division III schools than any other division in the NCAA.
Interesting.
And those schools, just like in Division I, Division II, vary tremendously from the really small private schools, maybe under 1,000 students in enrollment. And I've attended a school similar to that.
Right.
And, all the way to the other side of the large public state schools that you find. Wisconsin, example, the Wisconsin state system. Those are schools of, 12, 14,000 students that might be more similar to, and people in Missouri, to a Missouri State or, on that side. And so then where I represent now, WashU, WashU is one of the top 10, 12 universities in the country. It's, they're trying to cure cancer at WashU. So I know where I stand. I'm much less important than what's going on, in the mission of the university beyond that. But so I think starts just the diversity of schools and experiences within Division III. It's very broad. We do operate under a similar set of a core philosophy, and that is our student athletes are true student athletes. Okay, they're not here. One of the distinguishing factors of Division III is there's no athletic-based merit aid, no scholarships. And you can look at that at one side, that's a negative, right? But I think there's a other side of that that's quite positive. And that is many of these schools are give out very generous, need-based and merit-based scholarships and grants. Okay. Oftentimes, Division III school, I'd ask families to go through the financial process. Oftentimes, they'll find that it's actually more affordable, especially if the student athlete is a strong student. That's key.
Right.
Than some of the scholarship schools. Okay. But I think what I always like to focus on is we're in a very transactional time in college athletics. It's always been transactional to a point. It's very transactional at the scholarship level. I'm offering you, I'm paying for you, and my expectation is you're going to, X, Y, Z.
Right.
We don't have that. I think Division III is more transformational than transactional. And it is truly student athletes that are doing it for the love and passion, and that's coaches. And, the talent, there's so many gifted athletes across the country playing at all levels. If you could, this weekend we're playing, we play Friday, Sunday. On Sunday, we're playing Emory's the number 4 or 5 team in the country. They are crazy, very talented. Our team is very talented. Someone would come to that game, and it happens all the time. We get people. Admission at WashU athletics is free, no charge. And they come, and you get up close.
Yeah.
And you see, this is really good. This is good play. This is talented, fast pace. We don't have a bunch of media timeouts. We don't have monitor challenges or monitor reviews going on incessantly that drive me insane when I watch a game on TV. Oh my God. Our games are over in an hour and 25 minutes. It is really good stuff. And guess what? Our young men and women, when the game's over, are probably going to go to the library. They are student athletes. So I think there's a balance. Our athletes at WashU in the summer have the opportunity to get internships and be anywhere in the country they want to go. Some will stay in St. Louis, maybe work, do research at WashU, do something in St. Louis. They could be on Wall Street. They could be anywhere doing anything. I've had guys at NASA. I've had guys, pre-med guys that are shadowing doctors. I've had guys that just get regular summer jobs and at work camps, whatever. But I'm not mandating that, they get to do that, and they still prioritize getting better and doing their training and working out because they love the sport. They love their team. They know they have to get better because we're competitive. And so I think Division III offers a really unique balance that I think we do it a little bit better than some of the other divisions, quite honestly. We have a strong philosophy and purpose. And I think it's the contrast today with where things are at has never been more clear. And I'm very thankful to be, at a level where I believe in the mission and we can change lives and not be as transactional maybe as some other spaces.
Couple things come to my mind on that response. First of all, wow. I mean, what a response. And what makes it such a great response is the genuineness that's behind that. Like, that's not a canned media, TV, radio sort of response. That's a coach who's, in my mind, in love with what he does, in love with the athletes that he's touching, and in love with the school that he represents. So kudos to you for that. The second thing that caught me there was the transformational, not transactional. The key phrases there. That's a great way for me to remember Division III athletics, that it tends or it leans more that direction than perhaps it does at other levels. What other levels offer is great, and I'm certainly, there's a place for that for sure. But that sheds a different light on Division III. And so viewers, if you're out there, take that with you. Transformational Division III athletics, one word, transformational. Very great answer there. Hey, I'm gonna put you on the spot here as we finish the show. You ready for this one?
You bet.
So I've had 3 or 4 coaches on over the last couple of weeks. I've had women's coaches, men's coaches, junior college, 2 junior colleges, 1 Division to college. I'm going to give you the same question I gave them. You can't straddle the fence here. You got to go one way or the other with this, and then we'll have a little conversation about it. You're a basketball guy. As a basketball guy, are you an offensive guy or are you a defensive guy, and why?
That's good. So here's how I'll preface it. So I grew up in Wisconsin in an era when Dick Bennett was the head coach at Wisconsin Green Bay. This is before he went to Wisconsin. He was at Wisconsin Green Bay. And I grew up about 40 minutes from there. So, and he ran these massive camps. My high school coach was a big Dick Bennett guy. And he mandated that us, like captains, had to go to Dick Bennett's 1 week, it was a Monday through Friday, defensive camp. This camp would sell out every year, like 5 months in advance. We paid to go to a camp where we worked on defense all day. We would do, and this is now 30 years ago, so 35 years ago, gosh. But my recollection is we would do a set of like 10-minute defensive stations, like a dozen of them in the morning. And Coach Bennett would run, zigzag drill, post D, whatever it was. We didn't play a game in the morning. We'd come back in the afternoon. We'd do another set of stations. And then we do like team defensive drills, shell. And then we played one game at night. One game. And we paid to go to that. Now, tell me today, if anyone always joked, if I tried to run the Pat Juckem defensive camp, I would get 0 people to show up to it. So with that said, growing up, that was my influence. I'm a defensive guy,
sure,
through and through. And certainly we realized you got to, if you're going to be really good, if you're going to compete and win a championship, they're interconnected, right? You got to be efficient on offense and stingy on defense. But I feel like that's the part of the game within the season that we can improve the most. Offensively, depends on the skill of your players. Like, how skilled are they? Can they shoot? That's recruiting. That's skill development off season a little bit more. But from day one to the last day, you can defend and you can grow significantly defending and rebounding. And so, Eric, I'm a defensive guy.
I like your answer there. I think it was 2-2. I mentioned that I'd ask other coaches the same question. I think I had 2 and 2 coming in. So the defense is now up 3-2 in my ongoing quest to find out which is more important, offense or defense. And point well taken. And hey, I'm not saying this is bad, but today's kids, they go to a basketball trainer, right? A specialist where they get one-on-one help, and hey, kudos to them. But yeah, they are definitely working on offense when they do that, right? They're working on ball handling and, 2-dribble stuff and shooting and those kind of things. And yeah, I don't think that the defensive camp or the defensive specialist is really a popular item in 2025. So I'm just a high school guy, so I may not know what you know about that, but defense doesn't pay the bills in terms of specialized training.
Yeah, it's not as catchy on Instagram with those guys for sure. Doing closeouts and jump the ball drills just doesn't sell.
No, it doesn't.
But it wins games. We know that.
It does. It does. And time tested, right? I mean, Coach Bennett knew what he was doing way back when. So, hey, it's been great visiting with you. A couple of things, just your passion for what you do. It shows up when I visit with you. And then more than that, you just seem like a solid guy. I read some other things about you, and hey, I'm not going to go into those things, but just about sort of the person you are, and a couple of challenges and things that you took on where you really helped a kid with some things. And I'm sure that that's more the norm for you than it is the exception. So kudos to you for the job that you do there at WashU. And it's been good to visit with you tonight.
Eric, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for spotlighting the small colleges and the small college athletes across the state of Missouri and across the spectrum of sports. There's so many great stories to tell, and it's awesome to have you guys shining that spotlight on them. And I encourage your viewers to go attend a game in your area. There's across the state. We've got at all levels: Division III, Division II, NAI, junior college, and then of course the Division I. There are a lot of great things going on. And so if you're nearby or getting near one, just go and check it out. I think you're going to be awfully surprised with what you see.
Absolutely. It's been great visiting with you. Viewers, we're going to sign off for tonight, but I do want to give a shout out to the You Are Strong program by Angie Wiley. Angie has a program that sort of trains athletes in terms of the mental approach and side of the game. I've actually went through Angie's program with one of the teams that I'm associated with, and it's really good stuff. So if you're out there, viewers, check out Angie's website, You Are Strong, and learn more about the services that she offers. Coach, on behalf of On Deck, thanks for being with us tonight. And this is On Deck with DeRo and Arch, and we are a product of the Missouri Sports Network. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
This has been a presentation of the